Okay, welcome to this month's MBCEA Presents. And we are going to be talking about SEO today, and I am going to turn it over to Dominic.
Hello. Okay, I'm super excited to be here. I'm actually going to hop in and just start sharing my screen at the gate. So one second here. One sec. Okay, there we go. Cool. You all can see my presentation. Okay. Um, First off, I'm super excited to be part of MBCEA. You should know that I'm also surprised because whenever I first started my agency, I I did not think I was going to be working with construction clients. I was positive it was going to be e-commerce and tech companies, but it turns out construction companies are way more fun to work with. And I know how to rank these sites, and most of these sites need some help. So it turned out to be kind of serendipitous. So thanks for having me. I'm genuinely pumped to be here. So I'm Dominic. I own Growth Bureau. Growth Bureau is an SEO and AI search agency in Kansas City. I've spent the last decade between working with startups and building businesses of my own. So I've built some, I've sold some, I've scaled some. The last startup I worked with was called Dib, and Dib was an SEO tech company. And what they did is they basically gave tools to small businesses to implement SEO changes. We had over 500,000 clients. But it turns out most business owners don't have the time to run their own SEO. So that's where they brought me on to help spearhead the growth of the services side. So we would just take over doing the SEO work. So I had hundreds of calls with clients and consulted on all their websites. And so I have a huge sample size of what works and what doesn't with growing websites. I also have a huge sample size of what agencies do and don't do with websites, mostly don't do. I had so many calls with clients that are like, hey, can you see what's actually been done to the site? We haven't seen really any growth. And I would do a deep dive with them and I would come out and I'd say, I don't know what they're doing either. So that's where Growth Bureau was born. I realized that I just needed to do work to move the needle and communicate that to the client. Mind blowing, I know. So hopping in, why is SEO so important? I think the beauty of SEO is the investment. So with paid ads, if you pull spend, everything stops. You're basically renting billboards. With SEO, you're basically building a bunch of billboards that you get to keep. I think of each page as its own billboard, and you get to spread these billboards around your town, around your city, around your state. It takes time to build them. You have to do a little maintenance to these billboards, but they're yours to keep. There's definitely a place for paid ads, but I love SEO because it's the gift that keeps on giving. So turns out other people trust it too. Here's a breakdown of click-through rates. Basically, the percentage of viewers who see a link on Google, how many click into it. Turns out the top three spots on Google get 50 to 70% of the clicks, which is outrageous. Things drop drastically after that. And past page one, your website is effectively invisible. The way that ads compare to this, they pale in comparison. Um, so basically, they have a fraction of the percentage because people know with paid ads that they're being paid to get to that spot rather than hard-earned rankings. A little proof that I know what I'm talking about. I just pulled a few clients. Um, this one, for instance, is a multi-location medical clinic. We took them from fledgling to skyrocket mode. As you can see here, they've actually grown substantially since I last screenshot this. Ironically, this client had another agency whenever they reached out to me. They didn't feel like things were working properly, and so they wanted my recommendations. Um, And so I looked at their website, sent over recommendations. Unfortunately, they shared those recommendations with their current agent or with their agency at the time, which I wasn't planning on. Um, that agency then said those recommendations weren't possible. Well, it turns out they were possible. And here's what happened when we implemented those changes. Another one is a building parts brand. This has been a really fun one to work on. Um, Whenever we started working on this site, it needed a bunch of really technical things to kind of free up a bottleneck that the site had. Then we started adding proper content, proper keywords, stuff I'll get into on this. But obviously, they've had huge growth and they become one of the most powerful websites in their niche. Um, and then lastly, here's a builder. This one's been another fun one to work on. Really established builder. They've been around for over 100 years. Their website looked beautiful when we took it over, but on the back end, it had a ton of issues that were causing another bottleneck. Once we freed those up, we started laying the foundation of proper pages and backlinks, another thing I'll get into. Um, Now they really rank number one for each of their services in their area, and they also win a lot of their services throughout the entire state. So huge growth. Okay, let's get into it now. So one thing to know about me, I was telling Sasha this earlier. I hate when people make things more complicated than they have to, just to make something sound more premium. This is what always happened at the tech companies that I worked for. It drove me crazy, and it never led to a sale. My goal is to always simplify, and SEO is simpler than a lot of people make it seem. There's a rabbit hole that you can go into. Um, but really, you just need to cover the basics to beat most of your competitors. So I'm distilling this presentation. So basically, SEO is three things. You have content, you have authority, and you have technical work. So content would be like targeting the right keywords in the right way on the right pages. I'll get into that. Authority is making Google trust our websites. And then the technical work is basically spoon feeding Google exactly what we want to rank for. So hopping into content out of the gate, it's really important. Number one, your pages need to have a clear and keyword optimized heading. So this right here would be the heading. Heading is going to be the title, basically, of the page. If you have a primary service or category that your website needs to rank for, that would be the main heading. That would usually go on the homepage. Homepage is going to be the most powerful page on your website. So if you really want to rank a term, that's where it's going to go. It really depends on how competitive your space in your area is. So this photo example, Southern Indiana commercial construction, that's the primary keyword that we're going after, and they do rank number one for that. Other examples would be metal roofing contractor, Denver, Colorado, Northwest Arkansas, commercial construction, steel erectors in Columbus, Ohio. You can see how I'm including these keywords of the service and the service area. Okay, this is a huge one. Service pages are critical. So if there's a service or product you offer, you're trying to sell, you have to have a unique page for it. Having bullet points of services that you offer is not enough. I've seen huge companies do this. It really takes a full page to cover the service and to give Google all the information it needs to rank well. This right here is a photo of just the service drop-down navigation. This is not all the services, but just to show the different pages that we link to. So touching on steel erection, we'll use this as the example. So just like the homepage, a service page needs to have a clear heading that also includes that primary keyword. For this, that primary keyword is going to be Kansas City steel erection. That's the main heading. They rank number one for this. And speaking of headings, not to get into a rabbit hole here, but this is important because this is where a lot of mistakes happen. This heading right here, this main one is going to be an H1 is what it's called. The secondary one, this is going to be an H2, and then it goes H3, H4, H5, so on. Headings are actually tagged on the back end of the website. It's behind the scenes. But here's where the mistake happens. If you've ever been in a website, you may have selected a particular heading to get a different size font. This is a no-no, actually. So headings do two things for Google. They show what is most important, but they also show the hierarchy of the website. So this is, again, a spoon feeding Google. H1 is going to be most important. This shows H2, H3 less and less important. There's a better way to explain this. So think of it more as H1 is the main topic, so seal erection, and then H2 would be a subtopic, and then H3 would be a supporting detail. So a better example is going to be, let's say we're doing a title for a roofing page. The H1 is going to be commercial metal roofing. Then the H2 is going to be supporting. So it's going to be, say, types of commercial metal roofing. I know Butler stuff. So say it's MR24. And then H3 is going to be details about those types of roofing. So if we're talking about MR24, maybe a detail about it is going to be talking about the Pittsburgh double oxane. So H1, H2, H3, you can see the hierarchy here. As far as changing the font sizes, you do this another way. You can mark things H1, H2, H3, and change the font size elsewhere. Okay, and then speaking more about Mars steel erection page, um, you type in the search query, they're number one. Know that everything shown here on the SERP, search engine results page, um, this is all strategic. So you'll see that this is their URL here. You see that in their URL, we have the keyword. So it's marbuildingsolutions.com/steel erection. If we're in a extremely competitive area, we're going to want to add that location on top of that. So if we really needed to turn things up, I would say marbuildingsolutions.com/steel erection, Kansas City. Then right here, you have the title of the page and then the description of the page. This is called the title tag. This is called the meta description. You input these on the back end of the website as well. And if you don't do it, Google will crawl your page and make it up for you. So it's best to implement this. And you want these to also to be keyword rich if you want to rank them. So you'll see steel building erection, and then all these supplementary keywords. This is all strategic. One last thing to note, with title tags and meta descriptions, there's a character limit with both of these. So you can make these way too long. You don't want to just pack in tons of words here. So with the title tag, your character limit's going to be about 60 characters. And then with meta description, it's going to be about 155 characters. And then speaking again of competitive areas, if you really want to rank certain cities outside of, say, your main city, you need to create location pages. So here's an example of one of our clients. They're one of the larger wood flooring companies in town. They wanted to rank for Lee Summit, Missouri. So we built out an entire page. You can see that their URL is keyword optimized. You can see that we have the H1 as hardwood flooring in Lee Summit. Their H2 also has hardwood flooring services and Lee Summit. Whole page dedicated to Lee Summit, Missouri, and it crushes. So that's critical if you're in a really competitive space. Okay, now we're going to hop into a little more user experience must-haves for the website. First thing to think about, your site has to be mobile friendly. So about 65% of users are looking at mobile now. And if a website isn't mobile optimized, so basically if you have like what looks to be a desktop view on your phone, it's all smashed down, hard to navigate, people are going to bounce. They're going to leave the website and you will get penalized by Google. They'll drop your rankings. So this is critical to have. It's also critical for conversions. And then secondly, a website has to be fast. Um, Nobody's waiting for things to load nowadays. We all got TikTok minds now. So there are plenty of things. This is overwhelming. There are plenty of things that you can do to speed up a website. The biggest culprits I see are images and video that are too big, that can weigh down the whole website. So there are free tools out there that help you shrink down the file size so that the pages stay peppy. Um, Not to get too nitty gritty, but best practice, keep web images under about 200 kilobytes. That'd be a good goal. And as far as video, I know a lot of you have video on your website. That's totally fine. A lot of you have maybe like looping video on the homepage. Um, I would just keep tabs on that to make sure it's not slowing things down. That it's an optimized video. You can look at, say, Google Page Insights to see. Um, and if you have like larger videos, say you have like a 4 or 5 minute deep dive video on your website, my recommendation is having that hosted on YouTube, but embedded then on the website. That'll just keep things more peppy. Plus, there's a lot of benefits with having content on YouTube, by the way. Google obviously owns that and they're using that to crawl. Okay, more UX stuff. Let's talk photos. Especially for construction, this is critical. So, um, people are definitely checking on your website, looking at projects to see your quality, what kinds of projects you build, and they're also looking at Google Images. A couple important things to know with photos is you want unique photos whenever possible. Google wants unique content, both text and photos, and it rewards you for having unique content. For construction websites, I like seeing finished project photos and I like seeing in process photos. In process photos are great for blogs. They're great for showcasing detail, your attention to detail. And they also work great for just filler images throughout the site. They can also be used for social, which is great. My ask for you from you is organize them. I have a client who has a beautifully organized Google Drive of all their projects. This is a game changer. It is so helpful. They can just send it over. We can pick for whatever page and just continually use for our blogs. One last thing about imagery. This is going to be a little trick that most of your competitors are not doing, and this is how you're going to be able to rank well in Google Images. So there's something called alt text. Alt text is basically telling Google in detail what the image is. And this was originally meant for the visually impaired, but Google actually uses this data to understand photos. And again, it's going to help you rank higher in Google Images. So in your website, you're going to be able to edit this alt text. Make sure that the photo is extremely descriptive. So instead of saying, say it's a photo of a metal roof, instead of saying just metal roof, you would tag it as, corrugated blue metal roofing with blue eave trim on a commercial building. That is just a dense alt text. There's plenty of keywords in there for you to show up. Google has way more information. Okay, this is another huge one for construction companies. Google Business Profile. It seems obvious, but this is like a way bigger deal than most businesses think. And Google always rewards websites that go all the way with Google's services. So be sure to fill this out completely. So and make sure it's all up to date. You want proper location, hours, business category, business services. Make sure to add in quality imagery in here. And then after all that's done, you want to be getting reviews. After all that, reviews are the most important thing you can be doing. Ask for it after every job is completed. Um, there are other ways to interact with Google Business Profile. If you want to go all the way, such as doing social posts on Google Business Profile, I haven't seen data that this really moves the needle. I would personally focus social efforts elsewhere. Um, Reviews, though, That is definitely a worthy endeavor. Okay. And then one of the biggest things for a website is building domain authority. So, domain authority is basically how much Google trusts your website. And the big part of doing this is acquiring backlinks. Backlinks are simply links from another website to your website. Think of backlinks as a referral network. You, of course, want as many referrals as possible and relevant, high quality referrals. The larger your domain authority, the better your entire site ranks for everything. Um, And again, you don't want just any website linking to you. You want authoritative and relevant. So a good example would be MBCEA linking to your website. It's relevant, they're in the same industry, and they're high authority. They already have a large referral network. Google trusts MBCEA. Them linking to you is basically um, just a sign that they trust you as well. Other sites you would want to link to you, you'd want local websites to send local signals to Google where you're located. So that could be via sponsorships. And then of course industry stuff to keep relevant. So NBCEA, but also maybe you have relevant construction blogs that are linking to you. And as far as how to get on these, they take a lot of work. So you're going to have to likely reach out to websites. Sometimes you're going to have to do an exchange of sorts. Sometimes that's money to get listed on some of these websites, but it's worth it to raise your domain authority. Okay, so we talked domain authority, so the basically the website authority as a whole. There's also page authority. Sometimes you build up really strong pages. Say you have a blog post on metal roofing that's gotten a lot of traffic, and maybe it's gotten a lot of backlinks. So Google sees this as a very powerful, reputable page. You can pass that power to other pages. This is called passing the link juice. Um, so regarding that blog, say we built up that big blog on metal roofing, and it's all powerful, and I'm a builder with the service page for roofing. I want to make sure I'm linking that page. I'm passing the link juice from that powerful blog to my service page on roofing. You want to be linking to relevant pages. And then I'm passing that credibility to our services page to boost that up. Links also give Google an understanding of uh, what relates to what on your website. So the more we can spoon feed Google what our site is exactly, the better it's going to rank. It rewards us for doing that extra effort. Okay, and back on content, I wanted to spend a little more time on blogs in particular because a lot of companies don't think about blogs the right way. It's less about company updates, although some of those are fine. It's really strategic. So with blogs, we're trying to earn traffic. We're trying to earn backlinks. So people think our content is so valuable that they actually cite it and link to it. And then we're trying to convert readers into customers. So you want a mix of top funnel content and low funnel content. So top funnel content might be something like a 100-point checklist on metal building maintenance. This would be a national term. It would have higher search volume, could potentially get higher traffic, and it has a higher chance of getting way more backlinks. Low funnel is going to be something more local. So it's going to be, say, a piece on city guidelines for self-storage in your city. It's going to be local terms. It's going to have lower search volume, but it's high value to readers as they could see you as potentially being the go-to self-storage builder in your city. As far as creating content, this is very important to touch on. Don't just pump out content with ChatGPT. I know it's easy, but if it's easy to do, it's easy to beat. Most of the time, ChatGPT is going to pump out thin content that's way too general. This never ranks well, and it actually can just weigh down your website. It can actually kind of harm your website. I have clients where I've actually had to spend tons of time just going through and deleting pages that are just kind of weighing down the website. And we've watched rankings shoot up after doing that. So know that blogs are strategic. They take a lot of work and investment to do properly. But again, we're putting up billboards here. So you want to, any page that goes up, you want to be proud of. Okay, and then finally, AI search. Um, so this is the new frontier. This is what everyone on LinkedIn is at least talking about. Most of them are trying to sell something, it seems. AI search at the moment, 90% of AI search is just good SEO. So of the previous 23 pages we just covered, if you haven't done that stuff yet, start there. Beyond that, here's what I do to rank AI search. So I'm going to search a query. I'm going to be sure to be in a temporary chat. Say I'm in ChatGPT. If I'm in a temporary chat, it's not tracking all my history. Because what ChatGPT will do, it's just going to serve me my clients and tell me exactly what I want to hear, which is all my clients are the best. I want as legitimate, truthful answers as possible. So temporary chat, I'm typing in a query, and then I'm seeing what's being cited to give me that answer. I'm looking at all the websites it's pulling from. And then I'm trying to get on those. So again, that's going to take me reaching out. It's going to take sometimes paying to play. Another thing that AI pulls a lot from are forums. So Reddit, for instance. So if you really care about AI search right now, being active on Reddit can be beneficial as it's often cited. Um, and as far as being cited, the unique thing about AI search right now is it's not like with SEO, it's a lot about getting those backlinks, actual links from a website to you. With AI search, just having a mention of your company is going to be counting. It's going to be crawling that as well. So that's beneficial too. Okay. I tried to synthesize and distill this. So that's my run through those. That's the foundation um, for SEO. I'm going to open this up to Q&A. And again, if you guys have any questions, if you want me to do a audit of your site, I'm very quick at these. I'm happy to do them. I'm going to shoot you straight on what's going on with your website. Um, but yeah, just email me at dominic@growthbureau.co.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Dominic? You can feel free to unmute and ask any questions. You can put it in the chat if you are shy and don't want to ask it out loud. But this is meant to be, a valuable resource for you. And I think the information that was covered was invaluable. And I thank you, Dominic, for giving us that information. It was a lot of information. I was taking notes and I was like, H1 and H2, I was using that for font.
I know exactly. I had to mention it.
That's perfect. Yeah. So, do any of us on here really know what we're doing? No, we don't. So this is why we need people like Dominic to help us. Anybody have any questions, any thoughts of anything you learned? Um, yeah.
Can you give that email address again?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Dominic, do you want to put it in the chat as well?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, please. Growthbureau.co. Yeah, everyone, just please email me any questions. I'm genuinely happy to help.
Yeah,
I know.
Ross. See, it's not just me.
I'm glad I mentioned that.
I'm
Yeah, that
super
came
interested
that
in
came
knowing
from
our head of marketing heard of H1 H2 font thing and started laughing because yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I'm actually intrigued how many people knew what you were talking about with H1 and H2. I was all excited that I at least knew what you were talking about, even if I did it wrong.
I know. I was leery of talking about the eight like when I first learned that stuff, I think my head was spinning. There just seems so much to it. But that was important to call out because there have been so many sites that I've worked on where it was basically a bird's nest that we had to unravel. It was sending Google all these mixed signals. So yeah, I'm glad that was covered on this.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Super intriguing. But, even
Thanks.
instituting that one little thing, is super, super helpful. So appreciate
Yep.
you covering that. Anything else while we're all together that anybody wants to ask? Hey, Chad, are you interested at all in coming off and giving any personal or business kind of thoughts or feedback or testimonials?
I can do it. I know when we first started with Dominic, I guess we had a company hired that they were the greatest thing ever. I don't want to say it was a little embarrassing when Dominic started taking it over, the way they were doing stuff, or even like the way that, hey, we think you should start paying for Facebook ads or whatever. And it's like, no, don't. You start paying, and as soon as you stop, it's over. So taking it, working on the site from the backside has been huge for us. On one thing he kind of took over lately was like building repairs, stuff like that. I think right now we got 6 or 7 jobs from it because of it that are just great little fill-in work. They're not huge buildings, but it's great fill-in work. It's a week here, a week there. That's helped us out a lot. Really, a lot of the SEO stuff he's done. We have tried shying away from let's go pay for ads because as soon as it's over, it's done. So he's helped us out a lot on it. I can attest to it. He's driven a lot of work to our site from it. So
Well,
it's helped a
thank
lot.
you. I appreciate that. Ads definitely have their place,
Yes.
for sure. But again, the beauty of SEO is you keep it.
Yeah.
So I think everyone enjoys getting to keep what they've built. But again, both have their place for sure.
Yeah, I appreciated that distinction as well. You can spend a lot of money on ads and not see a great return. So, as you said, yeah, it has their place, but it sounds like the SEO is more the way to go. I like how you described that as owning the billboard in the beginning.
Thanks.
Okay, hearing no other questions or comments, we will end this meeting. The recording will be on the products and services page.
Roger's have it. Looks like Roger
Oh,
rejoined the
we
question.
have
Can we
something?
answer it?
Oh, sorry, I didn't actually open the.
How much weight do photo labels carry?
Like, how valuable are they to do? I think is what that means. I think I think it's just best practice. Any photo that goes up, you want alt text because it's almost like a why not? It takes hardly any time at all, and it does put you in better position. And if there's a way that we can get ahead of competition and pop up at the top, even if it's Google Images, I think it's worth taking 30 seconds to do it. So that's my take on it.
Excellent. Thanks for asking, Roger. Okay.
Cool.
So again, this will be in the products and services page in the next couple of days once we get that up there. And so you can watch it again. You have Dominic's email address. So reach out to him with any further questions or for that free audit. And we will see you at next month's session. And thank you so much, Dominic.
Yeah, thank all of you. I really appreciate it.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Cool.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
See ya.